Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to the Unexplored Mojave. Today we're going to be checking out the Big MT West Tunnel. Now this is a train tunnel, obviously in the western part of the map, and I must say with the hexcrete columns that are around this tunnel, it gives it a very unique appearance. Of course these train tunnels are very generic, kind of copy and paste, throughout Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, but this one looks really freaking cool I think, just because of the hexcrete that surrounds it. But this tunnel actually has a lot of interesting stuff happening inside, and there's even more interesting stuff happening on the outside, so let's waste no more time and jump on into it. Big MT West Tunnel is located in the west, obviously, in the middle of the map, kind of just north of the X-13 Research Center. Now there will be several Sentry bots approaching you from the north, so do be ready to fight them. However, using this missile launcher was extremely effective against them, so hey, maybe just pull out your good old trusty missile launcher. Also, there was some Nightstalkers nearby, just kind of, I don't know, they were kind of freaking out because I was on the train tracks and they had trouble getting up here. So I went down and I ended up killing them. Not too difficult of a fight as long as you have the proper weapons to, well, deal with them. But yeah, Nightstalkers can be a pain in the butt sometimes. Now, when I came back up to the train tracks, there were even more Sentry bots waiting for me. But using these missiles, I was able to take care of them, no problem. Now, you might want to come over here because there are some interesting things. So, of course, we have the Sentry bots, which we can loot. But more interesting is this truck, which seems to have crashed into the mountain. If you look at the license plate, it says Rocket 88. It's a New Jersey license plate. And this is a reference to the film The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, which the protagonist drives a vehicle with that plate on it through a solid mountain. And so this is a reference to that car from that movie. Pretty interesting, pretty freaking funny. Obviously, at the Big MT, it did not work as well as it did in the movie. Also, you can only see this if you have the Wild Wasteland perk. Now, of course, this train tunnel is for access into the Big MT. Back during the pre-war era, it was probably incredibly important for access to the Big MT. I did want to point out the front of the truck can actually be seen on the other side of the mountain, right there. But since the railway was probably important for supplying the Big MT and getting in equipment, the player can use the elevated railway for a lot of safety, because a lot of enemies have trouble reaching it. Now, if we come over to this small mountaintop over here, we can find two ghouls. One is called Number 27, and the other is called Number 34. And these two ghouls somehow escaped from the nearby Little Yangtze, which was a pre-war internment camp used to intern Chinese and Chinese-American citizens in the pre-war era. Obviously, these ghouls somehow managed to escape the camp despite their explosive collars, and I promise you we'll be talking a lot more about the Yangtze, or Little Yangtze, in a future video. But I just wanted to point out that it's right next to the train tunnel here, so you just know what's on that little mountaintop. Now, as we move our way into the actual tunnel, you're going to find a lot of Protectrons inside. However, they're pretty easy to kill. I just used the pulse gun, and it took care of them pretty quickly. Now, as soon as you enter, there's going to be a locked door on your right, and you want to open it up because inside we can find a recipe for the unarmed skill book, so pretty darn good. Also, these footlockers usually contain ammunition in them, so make sure you go ahead and you loot those. Now, the interior of this tunnel is not really anything to cry home about. It's pretty similar to any train tunnel you might find in Fallout 3, but it's a little bit smaller than like Fallout 3 subways. But nonetheless, we can still find these interesting Protectrons, and also we have this unique Protectron called the Custodian. However, we really don't know much about the Custodian, what his role is, or what he was doing, but there is a mop in front of him here, so a lot of people suspect, or just kind of are assuming that maybe he was still doing his cleaning duties in this train area. Now, once you've cleared out all of the enemies, there is a few items of note. One over here, we can find the Lair mod auxiliary recharger clip. So pretty darn good, make sure you pick that up. And there's also a hard-locked door and a hard-locked footlocker. So as long as you have 75 lockpick or some like magazines in order to get 75 lockpick, go ahead and open them up. The footlocker just has some ammunition, nothing really that special. But behind the door, we can find more of the train tunnel, and if we walk on down, we can find a skeleton along with a Saturnite fist next to it. You definitely want to pick that up because there's only a few of them across the big MT. However, there is a chance that lobotomites might be carrying the power fist, so sometimes you can get lucky and it'll be on a lobotomite's body. Also, as you can see at the end of the tunnel, there was another skeleton and some ammunition boxes, so make sure you take a peek and see what you get. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Unexplored Mojave. Hope you enjoyed the Big MT West Tunnel. If you guys have any recommendations or ideas for future videos, please post them in the comments section below. Also, as I was making this video, I just surpassed 4,000 subscribers. Just wanted to give a huge shout out to everyone who subscribes and comments and likes these videos. I wouldn't be here without any of you. Thank you guys so much for the support. You guys are freaking awesome. As always, guys, until next time.